is against same-sex marriage.
Yeah.
Okay. He definitely was very like powerful in his arguments, like very bold and unapologetic about it. And so I think being confident in his opinion was one effective strategy or technique.
Yeah, for sure. I think when people talk like that.
Sorry,
Oh,
Maddie.
sorry. Go for it.
Go ahead. I was just going to say you could tell that he was really passionate about what he believed in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I was just going to say when people are so confident and passionate, it just makes me want to get on their side because I'm like, wow, if they feel that way, I'm not swayed that easily, but like confident, it just really helps their case.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this one was for the same sex. Okay. Yeah, it does make it like, I don't know if I necessarily, when I watch things, like immediately jump to their side. And this is just in general. I'm not talking about this specific video. But like suddenly I'm like, yeah, I can see why you feel that way. And in some ways I feel like during the speech I'm like, yeah, I agree. And then I come away and then once I actually can clear my head, I'm like, no, that's not what I believe. But like if they're really good, I feel like they can convince me first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, what was the basis and or the premise for his stance?
What I would say from watching it is that he based it most on like scripture and the Bible and how it's like against the word of God to engage in a same-sex relationship. So it's very like religiously based, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very religious based.
Yeah. I feel like usually when you're against same-sex marriage, that's usually the basis of it is religion.
Yeah.
If you were on the fence when it comes to same-sex marriage, how would you feel after listening to his speech?
I feel like it depends on the person. Like you were saying, Maggie, like at times want to believe in that and go with them, but then other times you like have your own thoughts. So it just depends on how easily they're swayed. But I think he was pretty convincing at times.
Yeah. I feel like for me with those situations, I also pick like my own beliefs from what they believe in. So like, I don't know, just like different parts to it. I don't know if that makes sense. And then you can kind of form your own belief that way. Like I don't believe in everything you're advocating for, but I do believe in these, and then bullet point type thing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
What was less effective about his speech?
I felt like where it was all based on religion.
That's like what I was going to say.
Yeah, every point he had was on religion. And I mean, if you're not a religious person, I mean, it totally would turn you off. And I noticed like in the background of all those people, they were not interested in what he had to say. A lot of them were leaving and very uninterested in what he had to say.
Yeah, and there's with same-sex marriage too, there's so much like science behind it too. Like look at the AIDS. Like look at AIDS, for example. Like you could easily brought in like how we can decrease AIDS in our country and all of these things. But I had the same thought, like you can't base an entire talk on religion unless you're talking with religious people.
Yeah.
Right.
I think you can't be really credible in the world if you don't have that. Like in one of my classes, our teacher had us write like a spiritual based. He had us write a secular based one, and he just wanted all of us to be able to like have like our own opinions, like that we're able to anyone about.
Yeah, one thing that I thought too was that compared to the second speaker, he didn't really share many like personal stories that really were relatable to the audience. So it wasn't like, it didn't have that emotional connection with the speaker and the audience. So it wasn't as like interesting to listen to and like as relatable.
Mm-hmm.
Because the next speaker will talk about like he shared his own personal story, which was pretty neat that he could like really relate to the topic at hand and like have the audience relate to him also. And so the first one didn't really have that same like effect in his speech, I thought.
Yeah.
Right. That leads us actually into our second question, or our advocate 2 questions, and that was like, what principles of effective speaking did you see in his speech? And we obviously saw personal connection with the topic. Because you're right, like if you have personal connection, you are going to be more passionate about it because you've experienced it.
Yeah.
And he brought up all the positive things in his life that, you know, how he was successful even though his parents were both of the same sex.
What was the basis and or premises for his stance? Let's see. Did you say his parents were?
Well, he was basically saying that because his parents, both of his parents were, you know, the same sex, that it didn't change their ability to raise productive children.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say too, like along those lines, that you know his parents didn't really affect like his success in life, and he was still able to accomplish many things. Like he mentioned, he was an Eagle Scout, and so just like their personal lifestyle choices haven't really like impacted him in negative ways, he was saying, I think. So that he was arguing that there really isn't like a bad effect on the children.
No, I completely agree. Anyway. If you were on the fence when it comes to same-sex marriage, how would you feel after listening to his speech? I think it's interesting. I did the beginning of my college career, I did a paper on the effects of gay marriage on children, or just like abnormal, if you will, types of marriages like polygamy or divorce on children. And I just think it's interesting, and he kind of backs it up. They don't have any claims yet on what gay marriage does to children yet, because we're in the age where children are still small, and we won't know for another 15 to 20 years if it really was bad or good. I'm sure it's going to come out that it was bad, just like divorce did in the 70s. Like they didn't know divorce was bad either in the 70s until those kids grew up, and they all spoke out about it. Like, it's horrible, you shouldn't do it. And they did all the research on it. So I think it's and relate to the question that they're going to look at him and be like, look, he's totally normal. Like, there's nothing wrong with him. But anyway, that was a total tangent. Sorry.
Yeah, and you have to wonder too, like, he may not want to bring up the bad things in the speech, but there may likely be, you know, other, you know, negative effects he's experienced he's not sharing. You never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, he totally could be biased.
Well, and he doesn't know a different lifestyle. Like, what? I mean, I guess you could say this about a nuclear family though too, but they don't know any different. They don't know what it's like to be raised by a mom or raised by a dad.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but I felt like he was more convincing. I mean, if I had to base my opinion on what I was going to believe on those two speeches, I would definitely probably believe that same-sex marriage was okay.
Yeah, that's what I meant when I tangented. Like, by listening to that, then like they're gonna be like, look, he turned out completely fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. What was less effective about his speech?
I think we said like the bias.
Mhm.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think that's the problem with both of them is they're very biased.
Mhm.
Yes.
And one thing that I thought too was that he didn't really have, that I noticed, any like evidence to back it up. It was mainly just his own experience. So it's one person's experience, but like there wasn't much like research done that he shared with the audience to back up his claims. So
Which
kind of
is
lacked in that area, I think.
Yeah. Which
Yeah,
is as bad as just sharing religion and not sharing any secular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because didn't we talk about it last week? Like, there's a difference between your opinion and fact.
Yeah, we did.
What principle? Article. What effective writing did you read in this article?
Sorry, it cut out. What did you say?
Someone's echoing. Not sure. What principles of effective writing did you see in this article? The Matt Walsh one.
On mute.
One thing that I noticed was that he kind of acknowledged the opposing side first and then still continued on with his own arguments. So I think that being able to acknowledge the opposite position is pretty powerful because it shows that you're aware of the opposing arguments, but you still have other arguments to kind of back up your own stance. So I liked that.
Yeah,
I
let
totally
people
agree.
know you've done some research on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his stuff is weird. And it's really powerful because of what you said. Like, he has every argument against it, and he has a counter argument
Mm-hmm.
for it.
Yeah.
What was the and or the We'll go to the next question. We're quiet. If you were on the fence when it comes to same-sex marriage, how would you feel after reading this?
I think I'd feel a little more educated on both sides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked how he like gave his arguments in a very like logical and coherent way, and that it just really made sense, and like it had, you know, research or information to back up his claims. So I feel like I definitely, you know, want to follow him, or at least, you know, believe in what he's been explaining, because it did have like evidence to back it up.
Yeah, that was one thing that was different compared to. Am I the one echoing?
I can't tell who is.
Okay. Well, anyway, I think it's repeating my words. I can't like.
If
It
everyone,
was
if somebody was talking, echo.
what?
If you mute talking, mute it, then it shouldn't echo.
Okay. I just was glad that at least one of the sources had information to back it up. Like, because both of the speeches were good and they like had good information, but they were just so one-sided and they didn't have like solid evidence.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I agree too. Next question. What was less effective in this article? The one thing that I don't like about Matt Walsh is that I mean, it's just anybody can be this way with what you stand for, but anybody who has the opposing view could say, well, you don't claim what our arguments are. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, one thing he brought up the subject of Christianity, so like religion, which some people may not find to be a valid argument. And of course, you have plenty of other like arguments as well. So it wasn't just religion based, but I just thought that is one thing that people may not really, agree with or find to be a valid point. So.
Which is funny because like most of the nation is Christian.
Yeah.
What questions do you still have? I don't have any.
Me neither.
So summary. Have both religious and secular research articles for argument. Right? First, why is mine echoing? Personal story. Have a personal story. What else would you guys add for our summary?
I think just that you have both sides. And then also, I think make it as like personal stories, but make it.
Yeah, I would agree. I think having personal stories, but also evidence to back it up that's not just based on your experience, but like research that's been done too.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, I think we're done.
Alrighty.
Thanks,
Sounds
guys.
good.
We'll see ya.
Okay, have a good night.